So James Hawk from Miami, Florida, does business out of Jacksonville, Florida. Been wholesaling for how long now? 4 or 5
About 10 years, yeah.
Oh, 10 years now. Okay, so 10 years now. So he's obviously has a ton of experience. Him and his partner, Hunter Hayden, both are crushing it out there. And these guys live literally the jet set life. Not only is James going back and forth from Jacksonville to Miami, he's in his high-rise condo there. Thank God that Dorian didn't hit him because he was about to evacuate but didn't have to. Yeah. So we do feel for all the people that did have to evacuate, but you were one of the lucky ones that didn't have to do it. And then James, I don't know where he was. He was like traveling in some vineyards and up in Oklahoma or not Oklahoma, but Oregon. And he was.
Oh yeah, Hunter. Yeah, Hunter was. Hunter was traveling.
Yeah, so, I was out there doing some traveling. So a lot of fun. You guys have a blast, and you guys are doing a ton of deals, having a bunch of fun. Now you're actually in the information space, so. I would highly recommend following James on Instagram. He puts out some great content on Instagram at James Hawk, right?
Yeah, at James the Hawk, yeah.
James the Hawk.
That's it.
His handle is.
If only James Hawk was available, you know.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, exactly. There was Flip2Freedom was available, so it was pretty easy. Anyway, So let's talk about, all right, so I always think about what can be the highest impact thing we can talk about. And you're going to be speaking at Extreme Freedom 2019. You're going to be on stage, man, a bunch of people there, and we want to deliver the highest, best, absolute content we can. Right. What I'd like to do here, and we're going to kind of get into subject matter of what we're going to talk about, but I want to give an idea of a little about who you are and your background and what has been like some of the key aspects to your success. And I know at the event, he's going to be talking about how to find the hottest motivated sellers and be able to contract the deepest discount deals, right? That is a huge major factor. When it comes to wholesaling, you have to find sellers that are motivated. If you're not talking to sellers that are motivated, this business becomes incredibly frustrating, right?
Sure.
Because you're only talking to people that want retail. So James has a unique way, and he's going to do his presentation at the Extreme Freedom 2019 at the event. He's going to be talking about how to essentially find those motivated sellers and be able to get those deals under contract with huge spreads. So he's going to talk about some crazy stuff. We're going to give a hint about what he's going to talk about in like a cliff note version of his presentation. It's a presentation you don't want to miss. It's been one of the most talked about presentations at the event. Everyone's excited to hear from James. He does deliver a ton of great content, and he is highly dynamic, so it's awesome. So James, give some people your background of what how you got started, and then there's in everybody's business, there's a tipping point from when they play small and then they flip it and then they start doing big deals, and that's when the money starts flooding in. Right. So give us an idea of when, what your background is and how you got into real estate, and then take us to that point where you flip the switch and something happened that took you from a deal or 2 deals or maybe 3 deals a month, where then you went out and crushed it. Because I know everybody on the line wants to hit that point. They want to flip that switch. They don't know how yet. So go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said before, about 10 years I've been doing the business. Came from very humble beginnings for sure. And I had a random series of just miscellaneous, like kind of bogus sales jobs. Once I got out of high school, I never went to college. Then I actually, I joined this company that built bridges, and I did that. And I actually moved my way up to management. And then I had a friend that was doing real estate, or actually wholesaling to be specific. And I had wanted to get in real estate anyway, so I planned on getting a license. And then I realized that whatever he was doing over here seemed like it was making a lot more money than someone that was just a real estate agent, right? So I quickly started trying to figure out what this wholesaling thing was, and then just went out and dug up all the information I possibly could. And obviously back then it's nothing like it is now as far as information out there. But so I did that. I dove in. It took me several months to actually do my first deal. My first deal was $4,000. My second deal was $20,000, and then I quit my job and went all in. So I'm not saying I recommend that. I definitely took a big risk, but it paid off. Big reward means you got to take some big risks. But anyway, so around 2013, I partnered up with my business partner, Hunter. And we were doing several deals a month consistently. But later on in that year, we really realized that if you can build the momentum and you understand certain KPIs in the business, it's really just, scaling doesn't become that difficult other than, recruiting like really good talent, stuff like that. But if you know the key numbers and you can get momentum building up, you can scale quite fast.
Okay. So take us back to the point where in your business that you were effectively playing small, and
Sure.
you're doing a couple deals and you either discovered your KPIs and then you were able to put the pedal to the metal and really go essentially all in.
Okay.
And what was that point? Do you remember that point in your business where it literally made a shift and you had an epiphany? And from that point, things changed.
Yeah. So going back around that same time, that is actually the point where we really started like digging into tracking everything really, really close. Like we'd always tracked our marketing and everything, but the actual business itself, we weren't tracking that as nearly as close as what we do now. Like, the way we track it now is just like crazy level of tracking for everything, every aspect of the business. But once we realized that, okay, now we understand these numbers, then that's when we were like, okay, so it makes sense that if we can do this many deals consistently based on spending this much money, this much it costs us to get a lead, this many leads to a contract, then we know if we spend this much money, as long as the marketing is working, then we should be able to do this many deals. So, so on and so forth. And that's basically how we did it.
Okay, so now that being said, what were those key KPIs that really made a difference in tracking that gave you the information that you could essentially go all in?
Sure. The main three for us, we want to know how much it costs us to actually generate a lead, okay, a quality lead, a real lead. We want to know how many leads it's going to take us to convert that to a contract. And then we want to know what the average contract value is. And that way we can determine based on what we're spending, what the profitability looks like. Right.
So basically, for people listening right now, and you're thinking it, if you're going to ask yourself and you're going to look at your business because you want to go to the next level, you want to maybe transfer from you're in a job and you want to quit your job. This is the way to quit your job is understanding these numbers and then being able to scale into it. So everyone listening right now, you're listening to this and saying, hey, listen, what is your average cost per lead? And if you don't know, obviously that's an issue. If you ask yourself, okay, what's your leads per contract? What's the conversion rate? And that's how many leads it takes for you in your business to convert a deal. Now, what's in your business, and I know it varies for lead channel. What's your overall conversion rate, would you say?
Yeah, if we really go above on an average, like obviously we have some weeks that are like, 1 out of every 6 leads we get a contract, right? And then, but if we go over 15 as like an average across the board, then we're really going to be looking at what's going on. So, we want to convert at least 1 out of 15.
Right. So 1 out of 15 leads. So theoretically, if you're paying, $200, if you're paying $200 for a lead times 15,
right.
So that's going to be about a $3,000 cost to actually generate a contract. Now, what's your average deal size roughly?
Yeah, we stay around $20,000.
Okay, so $20,000 deal size. So it's costing them $3,000 to make $20,000.
Right.
Now, think about this. Now, this is business, right? And we've learned it, and you've learned it. But business is creating a box where you can put money in the front of the box, and you can put $3,000 in, and it spits $20,000 out. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah, and that box functions without our energy and effort. Now,
Right.
it's interesting. If we're an attorney, right, we put in the box, we put our, we have a box and maybe we have an attorney charges $200 an hour. Well,
Sure.
guess what? That box is how many hours they can work. But now they employ other attorneys, and now you get an attorney charging, $150 an hour. And guess what? Then they're paying him maybe $30 an hour. So they're going to make a spread, and now it's going to be able to generate more revenue. Just like your current employer. Let's say you have a current employer, and your current employer is paying you less than they're actually profiting off you. Meaning, if they're paying you $50,000 a year, they're going to make $150,000, $200,000 a year off you, and you're going to contribute to that box of revenue. So what's great about this business is you can put $3,000 in, get $20,000 out, and you can have key component people to be able to run that box for you. Right. So now you can be in Miami, and your box essentially is where?
In Jacksonville, yeah.
Right. So your box is producing 3,000 in, 20,000 out, 3,000 in, 20,000 out at a multiple tick, 5, 10, 15, 20 deals a month, $3,000, $20,000 out consistently. And that box is running without your energy and effort, correct?
Right.
Right. So, which is huge, right?
Sure.
Which is amazing. So guys listening, think about that right now. Imagine, and you can have a box anywhere across the entire country. Meaning you could have a box in Jacksonville. I mean, you could have people in Miami. You could have it all over the place.
Sure.
So one of your key components of your 1 in 15 is actually leads, right? Talking
Sure.
to motivated sellers. And I know you're going to be talking about that specifically. You're going to actually demo where you get the leads, how you specifically do it. But if you're going to give like a broad overview of essentially what you were going to be talking about at Extreme Freedom 2019, what would that be?
A broad overview. I guess what it comes down to is we really build out a very systemized business, right? We take a very systemized approach to business in general, and like we've evolved and learned like over time from many, many mistakes. So based on that, right, we also wanted to become much more efficient, even on the lead generation side. And even selling the deals and just anything that we could do to get an edge, right? So really, to give you a broad overview of it, really the entire presentation is about, helping you gain an unfair advantage in your market, right? Where you can become more efficient. You can spend less time all over the place trying to generate leads and, just become a lot more focused on higher quality leads in your business that are obviously, if you can generate those consistently, that'll lead to more sales, that'll lead to more revenue.
Right.
I don't know how much deeper you want me to go without, what I mean?
I think that's great because efficiency is, and I think it ties in what you just said prior, right? Efficiency. And efficiency is where you have those three numbers and how what can impact those numbers to get you from a cost per lead from 200 down to 100, and to get your conversion rate from 1 in 12 down to 1 in 15 to 1 in 12, and to get your what's the other one? Your cost per deal, right? The cost per deal is the other one. Cost per lead. You got cost per lead, you got leads per deal, right? Which is 50.
And then average deal size.
Then you have your average deal size, right? So then you have your average deal size. So and how you can increase your average deal size. So think about this. Now, think about let's say you guys listening, you in your business right now. If you don't have any numbers, then you're not efficient. Would you agree?
No, not at all.
Zero efficiency. You're throwing up marketing against the wall like spaghetti, hoping it's going to stick. Meaning, you throw up. You heard about Street View postcards. I'm going to throw up Street View postcards. I'm going to send it to a distress list. And you're going to cross your fingers. Now, we did that for a long time, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Everyone has their moment where they go through it typically.
Now, I did it longer than most people. I literally did it for almost 10 years myself without tracking.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long
time. I am, right?
Yeah, that's Whew,
Yeah,
a long one.
yeah, 10 years, right? No, probably a little bit, maybe less than that. Maybe about 7 years. 7 years with any tracking. Meaning, I would just throw stuff up against the wall. I would cross my fingers. I would hope to get a deal, and there was no, methodology behind it, no efficiency behind it. And
you can get deals that way. It's just not like, that's not how you're going to build a business,
Right. Yeah. So if you're going to go back and look at your business right there, I mean, how would you define it? Chaos, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. And not only that, it's unpredictable, right? Like, I mean, so the general idea, right, is to build this business out that is not, like you said earlier, just purely running on your energy, right? Like, you have a rock star team that's out there that's crushing it. You support them. You have your freedom, and that way you're not you're not freaking trapped. If you're not tracking everything closely, like, you really don't even know what that business is doing, right? It's not even a real business.
Right. So initially, you guys starting out, and I think some homework before you come to the event in October 25th through the 27th, Extreme Freedom. There's a link down here in the event tickets for the event. I'll post it again. You can check it out. But before you do that, get an idea or a grasp of those three numbers, right? Your cost per lead, right? And so how would someone get their cost per lead? What would their number? Because maybe they're doing direct mail, maybe they're doing cold calling, maybe they're doing a ringless voicemail, maybe they're doing texting or whatever. How would they equate a cost per lead?
Right. Well, I mean, basically what you're going to do is, like, I'll use an example of direct mail, right? So if you're sending direct mail, every piece of mail, you need to treat as its own campaign. It needs to have a tracking number. So then you can be tracking what kind of response you get from that campaign, right? Then you can know that I spent this much money on that campaign. It generated this many leads. So that tells you right there, okay, so it cost me this much per each one of these to gain these leads.
Yeah. So theoretically, if you send 10,000 units and it costs you $1,000, right? That's what, 10 cents per unit. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 10 cents, basically 10. Actually, is that $10? Basically 10 cents a unit.
Well, I mean, either way, like the math behind that. But I mean, no one's generating leads for 10 cents though. But
yeah, I know. Yeah. So now let's say that's now your cost. It's not going to happen. So typically a cost per lead is roughly anywhere from $100 to $200 on a cost per lead, right?
Oh yeah.
So especially over now, there's leads that you pay for, like direct mail and cold calling. And cold calling, that's something you can get the list, and he's going to show you a great place you can get a list skip traced. But once you get a skip trace, you get the phone numbers and the cell phone. You can call those people, and that's your activity that's going into it, where you're not paying for actually mail to go out there and drop, which is huge. So now you have you have the cost per lead. Now leads per deal. What's that number, right? How would someone that's never tracked before, how could they track those numbers?
Okay, so going over to leads again. So you have this many leads coming in. So you're just watching for each one of these, like, how many of those people do you need to talk to, or not even necessarily talk to? How many of those need to come in before you actually convert one into a contract? Right. That's really all it is, right? I mean, we can overcomplicate it, but that at the end of the day, how many leads do you need to generate in order for you to actually get a signed contract?
All right, so this is a big question that a lot of people have, and this will help clarify for people that are trying to get their numbers prior to coming to the event.
Okay.
Is what's an actual lead, right? You have a response and then you have a lead, right? So you might send out 10,000 letters. You might get 100 calls. That's not 100 leads. You might get 100 calls. That's a response. What's the actual lead? Yeah.
So the way we do it in our business is we track gross and net leads, right? So net leads being like an actual real viable lead that we could do business with in the very near future, right? So any of take me off your list, like in a really, really nasty way, or, I'm calling the cops on you, any of these, like some of these people that you'll talk to, it's just part of it. We consider that more in like, all right, this is more of a response. This is gross. And then we look at what are we really getting as far as net, right? So we try to monitor that percentage. That way we know, okay, so we need to get this much of a response, then we need to get this many actual like net leads to get it
right. Now it varies per marketing channel what the actual response is. I mean, ours are overall, if you're going to blend, direct mail, cold calling, ringless voicemail, all these type of things, it's roughly a number that's about 50%, meaning, ringless voicemail is a little bit different, but if you're going even just direct mail, it's about 50 or 60% of gross versus net leads. So if you get 100, maybe 50 of them are actually going to be viable. The rest of them are going to say, take me off your list. I don't want to hear from you, stop with me or whatever. Which is about right. So now that's the actual number, that viable lead, and that viable lead is what you count your actual KPIs off, which is incredibly important, because if you're counting it off gross leads, your numbers are going to be completely skewed, and if you don't have that correct, you're toast.
So now you use a good analogy all the time that you're really sifting for gold, because that's really what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to have a ton of dirt, right? And you're going to have gold nuggets. So now, what's great about, what you're going to talk about is gaining that unfair advantage. That unfair advantage is basically giving you the ability to where you'll have a lot more net leads out of the gross leads, meaning instead of 50%, you'll be 60 or 70% because you're talking specifically to a high quality list of distressed sellers that we know there's distress, we know there's underlying distress, and if we know that going ahead, we have the ability to essentially talk to those sellers. You're going to get more deals out of it, and also you're going to get bigger spreads. So I'm going to say it's going to be awesome. You having on there going to be talking about that, which is going to be killer.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. So and have you ever spoken in front of 300, 400, 500 people before?
Not 500. No, not 500. but I'm good anyway, bro. Don't worry about me. Put me in a room with anybody, and I'll have them love me before I leave.
Just wear those super duper Smack Daddy sneakers that you have there.
Yeah, right.
you and your kicks. Anyway, so
hating on.
Does anybody have any? Huh?
Hating on.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know. All right. So the bottom line is that at Extreme Freedom 2019, and the link's down there in the comments. Definitely get your tickets. Tickets are going fast. James is going to speak there. He's going to be talking about the unfair advantage, and what you can do to talk to the most motivated sellers now, which is incredibly important. He's going to talk about a new tool he's been using and we've been using in our business. He's going to demo that, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we talked about the 3 KPIs. I would have those numbers coming in and try to track those in your business, because the goal of Extreme Freedom is to be that flip that switch for you, So when you come in, we want to give you the right information. You can flip the switch. So when you go out of the event, wherever you are, you'll anywhere from 5x to 10x your business. And those little mind shifts of how big you're playing or what you're doing, if you have confidence to double, triple, even quadruple your marketing, if you had 100% confidence, that would change your entire business, right? So,
absolutely.
So when I know for my business, I was sending maybe 5,000 to 10,000 mailers a month, right? 5,000 to 10,000 mailers a month, and this was years ago, right? And I thought it was a hot stuff. I thought it was a big. I was, hey, I'm sending so many mailers. I'm a big fish. I'm crushing it. Dude, I'm sending 10,000 mailers a month, man. I thought it was huge, and it's amazing how small perspective I had at that particular time. And I talked to one of my, I call the Godfather. He's been doing real estate back in the early 90s here in Phoenix. He's bought and sold thousands of houses, primarily a wholesaler. I had a conversation with him, and I was like, yeah, man, I just sent 10,000 letters out this month. Man, the phone's blowing up. We're getting deals. And he goes, 10,000. He goes, and I go, yeah. And he goes, well, I just dropped 130,000 postcards. I said, what? He goes, 130,000 postcards. I said, who's answering all the calls? He goes, me, just going to my cell phone. And we'll do about 20, 30 deals this month. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's a job though, bro. That's a job.
Yeah, he gave
That's a
me
job.
that's a job. Gave me a whole different perspective on playing big versus playing small, and gave me a different mindset. That I immediately went out and sent out 100,000 postcards. I didn't block them over a weekly period. I sent them all at once. Literally, I just sent every one of them. Now our phone melted.
I remember that story. You told me about it.
Yeah, that changed everything in my business. And I put a correlation between $100,000 a month in revenue and then $100,000 in postcards. And then we put 30,000 in, and I think we did over 150,000 in revenue that month, and that pretty much changed everything. That was a flip switch for me. It was huge. But guess what? You have to have systems to be able to handle 100,000, right? You got to be able to scale into that, just like you're talking about. So
last year I think we sent out like almost 1.5 million pieces of mail.
So 1.5 million pieces of mail. So you do a lot of tracking. You have a lot of results. What the cool thing is here's another thing which I'd like to share. Not only of having that unfair advantage, but you also have something that nobody else has on this call, including myself, is actual data, meaning data of the 1.5 million of what was the best, that work list, what was the highest converting list, what was the list that produced the most spreads. So I'd like you to go through prior to the event, if you could share that on stage, if you could, with that. Just listen, you have 1.5 million mail pieces of data that was sent, and then here's the results from it. I think that would be astonishing. I don't think anyone's ever shared that on stage before with anybody. And I think that would be not only with the unfair advantage, but having that information would give someone an unfair advantage, because literally no one's talking about that. Because that is a huge, all new people that are listening right now that are brand new wish they had that data. When you run Google AdWords, you run Google AdWords for the first 90 days primarily to collect data.
Sure.
What's converting, what's not converting. But James is going to be able to share some of his data with you without giving too many secrets away, even though he is a massive giver. He's read The Go Giver, and he's a massive giver, which is great. But which is going to be cool. So, do we need a license to marketing? Do we need license to marketing for real estate sale? Can we put marketing deals, social media, YouTube platform? Do we need a license to do it? So, okay. So, do you need a license to do real estate wholesaling, James?
No, you don't. But I mean, do you even want to get into the whole Illinois thing, or are we just going to say no?
No, it's the only thing in Illinois is acting as a realtor, right? Acting as a realtor. So there is Illinois trying to, I think, pass. I don't know if they have passed or not, of acting as a realtor. And the way
any other state now.
Yeah, any other state across the country, you do not need a license.
No.
What we do in my business is we have our disposition person, actually a licensed broker, and he's selling our properties on behalf of the company. Essentially, he's a licensed realtor. And
by the way, not trying to cut you off, but that's interesting that ours is as well, because we have our own brokerage and our dispositions person is licensed. But I just do want to say that doesn't mean that person has to be licensed.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm not licensed.
I'm not either.
Company's not licensed, but I have someone that sells our property for you. So if you're in Illinois, I'd probably have a licensed realtor sell your property for you, right? And give them $500 or $1,000 per deal, whatever it might be. If not, then I would not worry about it.
No.
Got to leave it to Chicago, man. Chicago, those Illinoisans out there, the Chicagians out there trying to change stuff. Okay, so what the last one thing. So if you're going to think of the most impactful thing that would change someone's business. Now think about it. They're either working a job right now. They've got a 9 to 5. Maybe they hate their boss. Maybe they love their boss. And they're making an average of $50,000 to $60,000 a year. They drive a Camry. They have a house, have maybe a couple kids, whatever, and they want out of that. They want to be free. They want to be able to have a lifestyle like you have. They want to be able to come and go as they please. They want to be able to, have the freedom. But then there's that fear. If that person, that avatar, that person that we're talking to, what would you tell that person?
I'll tell you, Sean, I have answered this question probably, I know we all have a million times at this point. I have answered it many, many different ways, but I think a lot of it really comes down to when you're working that job like that, a big part of whether or not you're actually going to be successful is going to come down to how you prioritize your time, right? Because it is going to require you to put in the work to make this happen, especially in the beginning. Like, it is going to take some serious consistent effort if you want to get consistent results. So I would really tell people that, make sure that you are putting in the actual work, right? So the goals that you're looking to achieve, your work ethic matches that, because it's not going to be, you spend 2 minutes, once a week, and then, you're going to be there in a couple months kind of thing. Like, it's going to require some effort on your part. And you're going to have to do that if you really, really want this.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, and I agree 100%. I mean, you have to have a vision, and then you put the effort behind it, and then you get results. But also there's the educational component too. So you got your vision, education, and then you can put the right results, the right actions behind it to get the hyper. And what Tony Robbins says is turn decades, take days or decades into days. And you do that by obviously getting in front of people like James, that's been in the business for 10 years, right? Been in the business for a decade. You can come to Extreme Freedom. You can spend a week in Extreme Freedom. You can learn from, James. You can learn from myself. You can learn from Dean. You can learn from Carlos. You can learn from, Alec. You can learn from Scott Uch. You can learn from people that have spent, hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the business, spent years in the business, and be able to get the best of the best, the most cutting edge information that's working right now in the business. Every one of the people on stage are active real estate in the business doing deals today. This is not information that was done 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or it's in theory. Every one of us run an own business. We all go out there and crush it. And now so the bottom line is join us at Extreme Freedom 2019. James is going to be there.
We'll crush it.
Yeah, we're going to crush it.
You got to be there.
You got to be there. They're going to talk about those action steps, what needs to take to make it happen, and definitely go there before a lot of the seats are getting filled right now. So definitely get there before the seats fill up. So go to Extreme Freedom Live right now. Grab your tickets before they are all gone.
And I will say this too, Sean. Honestly, if I could start it all over again, like if I went back to the beginning, I would have definitely got help sooner. Going back to what you're saying, because it is true with the education side. I did spend a long time in the business just figuring it out without real help. You know what I mean? So it's an investment, not an expense, and it's easy coming from kind of the mainstream consumer mentality is like, oh, it's just another cost. Well, it's really not. It's an investment in yourself. That's really what it is. And if you ask anyone that's successful, that is exactly what they're going to tell you that it is. They never look at anything like that as a cost or an expense. It's always an investment.
Right. Yeah, and it's basically compressing everything down.
You're compressing your time frame too.
Yeah, so you can go in, you can come in on a Thursday or Friday, and you can leave on Sunday, and you're going to have a laser focus on exactly what to do. And so imagine leaving there Sunday with a clear, defined plan, knowing exactly what to do with a business model that you can grow, that you can turn around in the next 12 to 18 months, make over $1 million in revenue. Because that's what you're going to have attending Extreme Freedom 2019, which is going to be killer. So, James, you rock, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Hey guys, thank you so much for participating. Greatly appreciate it. James, you are the man. I'm excited to hear your presentation out there at Extreme Freedom here in Arizona. It's It's going to be a blast. And all you guys go to extremefreedomlive.com, grab your tickets before they're gone. It's going to be an amazing event. You don't want to miss it. Tons of it. Did you know that we have a concert on Saturday night?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Chelsea's band. We hired their band. She has a killer band. She's gonna be doing a concert. We have a dance. We have bars are set up and all that type of stuff. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So bring your dancing shoes. It'll be nice. All right, guys. I'll talk to you. Take care.
All right, bye, guys.